Hey everyone, thank you guys for clicking on this video. My name is Ryan. If you like all kinds of reviews just like this, definitely hit that subscribe button. I do reviews, movie hauls, and all the things related with movies, so you're definitely in the right place. Now, the movie we're going to be talking about today is called Wolfman, which is a new horror film now out in theaters. The film was directed by Leigh Whannell, and he's done films like The Invisible Man, Insidious Chapter 3, and Upgrade, which I've loved all those films. So up to this point, he was 3 for 3. The film, it stars Christopher Abbott, Julia Garner, and Matilda Firth. And what is this film ultimately about? Well, it's about a couple named Blake and Charlotte. They are living in the city, and Blake's father actually is declared dead. So they're going to travel to Oregon and go out in the wilderness and just kind of have a decent time out there and just escape the city life a little bit. And they also have their daughter as well. On the way there, they have this rental truck because they're going to gather different things from the house and take back to the city. And they actually crash their rental truck, which is shown in the trailer, so that's not a spoiler. And then they're on the run from this Wolfman character, in which they're going into this house, they're trapped in this house, and they have this Wolfman that is going after them. Now, going into this film, I would say that the trailer looked okay to me. I wasn't really thrilled by the trailer. The way that the film is actually shot, it's absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if this film was actually shot in Oregon, but if it was, the scenery looked great, and I would love to visit sometime. The sound here was really good as well. I saw this in IMAX, and there were many parts in this film where the sound was just on point. They had a really good way of using the sound and mixing the editing of the film, which was really great as well. It's great to have a good experience going into IMAX. I don't usually go to IMAX too much, but the fact that I had an opportunity to see this in IMAX, I was like, yeah, sure, I'll go check it out, see how it actually is. So from a sound perspective, I thought it was really good as well. The practical effects in this movie are done really well, from just the formation of how they have the Wolfman. The Wolfman here is a lot different from, I would say, from some of the other Wolfman films. Now, I haven't seen the original one from the 40s. I did see the 2010 one, and I definitely think his design here is definitely different from that film, and just the style of this film is way different from that film as well. That film feels to me a little bit more gothic versus this one. It's a lot different in its story. Negatives of this film that really weren't jiving well with me is mainly the pacing of this film. It feels kind of slow to me. It feels like at times there's not a lot really happening. I wasn't the biggest fan, I would say, of Julia Garner in this film. I just felt like she didn't have a lot of emotion with her, definitely with the different facial expressions. She just seems like she just has this same expression. I haven't seen her in a lot. I've seen her in Ozark and I think one other film that I've watched, but I just don't really feel like for this role, I didn't really believe that she was a mother to this little girl. She doesn't have the best of relationship with this little girl, and she's a writer or a journalist, I believe. So on that front, I just didn't really care for her character all that much. The dad, he was all right. I feel like we pretty much get to this wilderness pretty quickly, I would say. On that front, from the pacing, it gets there pretty quickly. But after that, the pacing kind of just goes downhill, I would say, and it takes a little bit to really develop. And even the transformation of the Wolfman, it isn't, I would say, the best. It's kind of a different kind of wolf. I was expecting a little bit more fur, and the way that his transformation is, it kind of looks like he's a mutant to a degree, something he'll have eyes a little bit, and then a little bit of the fur and chest hair, but nothing really else that really impressed me on that front. There is one really good scene with a windshield and a truck that really did get me from a jump scare point of view, which I don't think there's a lot of jump scares in this film. I would say maybe at most there's probably 2 to 3 scary scenes in here. And some of the effects, when they're actually done well, there is one scene with a chain, and I won't go any further than that, but that scene I was like, oh man, that was done really well. I really love the special effects on that. And the windshield scene, like I mentioned, that was really good as well. That really spooked me a little bit, jumped a little bit, which, it doesn't really get me a lot in horror films, but that one definitely got me. So on that front, there was some really good scenery in that, and just vibe and tone. I really did enjoy that about the film, but I felt just at a lot of times the film was just kind of slow. It just was taking a little bit to really get going, and most of this film takes place in a house, and there's not a lot of tension. It feels like it takes a little bit to kind of build, and then the wolf is going after this man who is transforming into a wolf as well. So it's that is the movie for the entirety of the movie pretty much, and like you're just waiting and waiting for that to really develop throughout the film. I just felt like it was kind of an okay film. Like I really wanted a little bit more out of this, but it's just a very simplistic story. Like when you're watching this, you feel almost exactly what you're getting from the trailer, and that's kind of what I feared, because I felt like the trailer, it didn't really show a whole lot to where I was like, oh man, this is going to be a really exciting movie. So I was wanting a little bit more from this movie. I think this film could have been quite better if they utilized the woods a little bit more. We do get a scene in the beginning of the film where you have this father and son and they're hunting for deer, and you have this like little shelter where they can look out and see like animals or what else is out there, and a little bit higher up in this little nest, so to speak. And I did like that scene, but I wish that we could have utilized that a little bit more in the movie and had like the wolf kind of terrorizing through the woods a little bit more. I did like the little vision they have of the wolf where he can actually, it's like kind of artistic how they actually show like the wolf and his actual vision and what he's actually seeing. I was like, that's pretty cool touch. That was something I really did enjoy about the film. I wish we got a little bit more of that. And I just think that if there's just a little bit more tension in this film and a little bit more going on, I do think the film would have been a lot more effective for me. And I think also too, if you switched out the wife for a different character, maybe I would have cared a little bit more about the characters, because to me, I just didn't really care a whole lot about these characters. I didn't really believe that this woman, Julia Garner, was actually married to this man, and their just relationship to me was just kind of awkward. Like I didn't even feel like they were in love. It felt like maybe it was his sister or something like that. It just didn't really jive well for me. And when you have characters that you really can't get into that much, it really can make the movie really falter. Like you could really care less what actually happens to the characters. And that's kind of how I felt as the film was just going along. I felt like there are a lot of cool elements that they were trying to throw into this movie, and there were things that I actually agreed with, but I just wish that they stretched a little bit more and utilized a little bit more of their surroundings, and maybe had some better characters. I think I would have enjoyed the film a little bit more. So as far as the score for this film, I would give it a 2.5 out of 5. I don't think this is a movie that I would actually buy or really watch multiple times. But for me, like, I felt like, in a way, it felt like a one-time watch. Maybe I'd watch it again, but I don't know. I just feel like by the time this film actually ended, because the characters weren't all that great, I just didn't really love the movie all that much. And that's why I say it's just an okay movie at best. But what did you think about Wolfman? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you just think it was kind of meh? If you haven't checked it out yet at a theater, are you going to check it out when it comes to VOD or streaming? Thank you guys for watching as always, and I will see you guys next time.